That's fine. All right, so in terms of economic effects, let's see, what do we have here? I mean, first and foremost, there would be the construction and maintenance jobs that it would create. Let's see, I'm trying to see if there's anything that we can cite directly from this article you got here.
I mean, it says that it's a fraction of the investment cost, so it would be a low cost, alternative.
That's a good start. There we go. Controversial construction.
I mean, with it being able to connect towns and less accessible places, it could open up the market.
Sure. I guess my question here is, do we need to have our answers specifically sourced from things, or are we just like talking about like for this one specifically, or I guess all of them, but
I think all the answers have to come from the one source.
from a singular source. Okay. I'm
Yeah, because
following.
it says if you can't answer most of these questions, you might consider finding a new source.
Oh,
I think all the answers
okay.
have to come from the source that you pick.
Okay, I'm following. So low cost alternative, possible opening of market by reaching less accessible / poorer areas. Construction and maintenance, job creation. Intelligent system management, clustering, trusting. Okay. Might not work well.
I don't like that.
Might not work well is lower mass transit. Oh, and
Yeah, it says based on available data, it's best suited for areas of moderate travel demand. Probably just a paper.
Sorry, correct. You just had an S. You had is in the middle of it, and it threw me for a second. I was trying to suss out what it meant.
Yeah,
Might not work well, and lower
Mass transit needed areas.
mass transit needed.
I don't
Well,
like
so
the
it
way
said
that
it was
sounds.
medium, so like, yeah, what about? Most efficient transit was medium capacity. Struggling with lower and higher passenger loads. Struggling in areas with lower and higher passenger loads. Okay, how's that
Yeah, that
sound?
works for me. And we already got
Perfect.
cost, drawbacks.
Consumers may have to walk greater distances due to less terminals. Weather dependent. Yeah, both of those things are pretty true. Are there any other noticeable drawbacks that we can see or think of
Yeah, I mean,
in terms of this
customers may
article?
have to walk greater distances, less terminals. I mean, just like consumers might not be able to get off exactly where they need to.
True.
Greater
True.
Wouldn't that go under the walk greater distances due to less terminals?
Yeah.
Weather dependent.
Just capacity.
Let's see. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you have to think, just think about it, like if your area had it, would you use it?
sure. And I feel like the answer is it would entirely depend on how many people were using it, especially during like how high traffic foot traffic hours, and when they would be in use. Because I think that they would be great for the most part until you're the person that has to get on with either like already a max load of people on there, or you're getting crammed in with a
Or you
ton
just
of
have to wait for
people,
the next one.
or you have to wait for the next one. But if you're using it for something, say like your job, for example, waiting for the next one, how long is it going to be till the next one comes? And
So how would we
I mean, I guess that's just a problem with mass transit in general.
I mean,
But-
yeah, I mean, if you don't get to the subway in time and those doors close, you're waiting on the next one, or you're walking. Well, I mean,
I think those are
other questions. Will this work for your problem?
Yeah.
I think so.
What are the things that should be considered when evaluating this product service?
Construction times and cost, I think, would be the first thing, because we're looking for fast, cheap ways to set up alternatives to diversify mass transit so that you can do the appropriate repairs elsewhere, and so the load is shared kind of across against multiple venues of mass transit.
The weather is I don't think you need to put it in, but the weather is something you should consider whenever putting it in, because like
Yeah.
if you're in a place with highway, you're
I mean,
not
if-
going to want that.
If it's Alaska in the
Yeah.
middle of wintertime, I am not going to be riding one of these things.
Or you have to, take special precautions, I suppose, in designing something for extreme weather conditions, right? Like something like this could be applicable in a place like Alaska or the Sahara, but you absolutely have to be designing it for winters that are going to be just absolutely, nightmarish, or just in general inclement weather situations.
You could
But I
have
think weather, yeah,
you
absolutely.
could have torches and stuff near like bearings and stuff like that to keep them. You can use grease that's good down to -50, so the
Sure.
wheels don't freeze up, bearings don't freeze up. You can have like
Heated core in the cable.
near it. The cable I wouldn't be too worried about
No, metal, the
for
metal,
freezing.
yeah, metal cable should be okay.
I mean-
they use the kind of stuff, up in, like snow lifts and stuff.
It's really the
Sure.
bearings you have to worry about. Bearings, motor, and cyclo drives and stuff like that. But you're able to you would be able to keep those, put oils, greases that are able to take that. Also put like heat sources with those as well to keep them cool enough
Excellent.
where they wouldn't lock up.
Okay. Very cool. So weather dependent. So what are things that should be considered when evaluating the product or the service? Construction time and cost. Are there other things that we should, or that should be evaluated whenever it comes to cable cars, aside from construction time and cost?
The
Traveler capacity, like transit load capacities. I mean, that's something that we've mentioned a couple of times in here, but I think that that's probably something that would have to be really considered in this.
you also
Okay.
have to have the keep in mind the the grade that you're putting them on. So like if you're in a place with more clay or sand rather than dirt, you're going to have to make your footers a lot deeper, which is going to drive up the cost of it. So
Sure.
I mean, that's another thing you got to keep in mind.
Type of payment used to use system.
Perhaps I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Sources of funding, perhaps. Like, I feel like that's not. I know that's not necessarily what you're getting at. Revenue streams. I think, where is it getting its money, which I think is a better question. I think that might be good, unless you guys have other ones that you can think of off the top of your head.
I mean, mine would just be like the layout in the city. Because I mean, I would kind of want to have as many terminals as possible, but not like too many.
You don't want to saturate.
Like
Yeah.
what's the appropriate walking distance to create the terminals?
To make it an efficient system. What was the term that they used in here specifically that I liked? I'm trying to see if this is actually what they were referring to. It seeks to organize government around managing public infrastructure. The value of asset value is maximum. Well, so city logistics, I think, covers that pretty well, and that's something that they directly reference in here. I think that's what you're getting at there is like terminal placement. What is like the optimal and efficient amount of like stretches of cable to terminal and how many stops you have within a city. Livability, how society interacts with the transportation system. So how does it affect areas in general around it? I think we might have also kind of covered that in some other points.
I mean, I think if
Not
it's
really
going,
down here.
if it's going all throughout the city, I don't think. I mean, I think the how it affects businesses and stuff would be. I mean, it might be more efficient for businesses throughout the city.
Sure. But livability in this particular instance is more along the lines of, like you were saying earlier, with people who have a problem with windmills being eyesores on the horizon.
The way it looks
So,
on the
like,
skyline.
Right, exactly. Like that very specific like subset of attitudes, or like how do people generally feel about this in their living conditions or their urbanized areas?
So how will people feel about the visibility of it?
I would say like how society interacts with the transportation system. Well, no, I guess that's getting away from the specific point. I guess public perception is probably a good way to phrase it.
I mean, I think that's good.
I think so too.
Okay, one done. Oh
Drake,
no,
got
wait,
any
we still
more?
have to. No, we still have to
So
do.
I was done about 2 or 3.
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then we still got to
I
make
feel that.
the stuff down below it. The evaluation checklist. What?
Yeah, I'm
No,
not.
we just did.
What?
What's the
No, this is like
evaluation?
based off the source. So like you're saying like, is this a good source or not? I put high on it because it is a .org. It seemed didn't do any of the research on the actual people yet, but I was kind of scanning through it and everything, and it looks logical. Not like they're trying to push one way or another. Like they are pushing for one way, but it's more informal than it is like, yeah, we're going to so great and everything like that, you know. So I put that, and then I had a question on the bottom, where it says, "Are there political, ideological, cultural, religious, institutional learnings presented?" Would this
Leanings presented.
Yeah. Institutional leanings. That's the one that I'm stuck at right there. I've never really.
So institutional would be like, is Purdue University, or like is an institution as a whole, not necessarily just a university, but is an institution supporting it, is the judicial system, or is some kind of like greater body, is that influence presented in any form or fashion?
Are we supposed to answer these questions, or are we just answering them just to see if it's an overall good?
I would assume we have to answer them. since they were
About the
on
source, use and
Format.
used from the evaluation checklist. authority.
Okay, well, I don't know where this evaluation checklist. Maybe it's on our,
I,
See.
the questions that it is the evaluation checklist.
did we
Like-
have one in our assignment?
Oh, like the authority, the accuracy, the purpose.
Yeah, that is the evaluation checklist.
I'm following. So
You just have to answer these questions in a roundabout way. good.
Uh,
I'm following. I'm
Okay,
following.
well,
So
who-
let's dig into these three authors.
well, who made the solution was not the authors. They're the ones that just created the article, I think.
Correct, but this is specifically talking about our, no, this isn't talking about our sources. My apologies.
Yeah. So who made the solution? It's been several. Several have made the solution.
Sure, yeah.
Who is the creator?
Uh,
Is he or she the original creator? So that would be no. This is not, our source did not come from the original creator. That's obvious.
yeah, cable cars have been around for a bit.
Is the person qualified? That's what I'm looking up right now.
It said who made the solution was somebody in Colombia. Pioneered the use of cable cars for urban transport when it first opened its metro cable line in 2004. So,
Are you going according to the article or just,
yeah, I'm going
In
according to
general.
that article.
okay,
So that's who made it.
sure.
So they do have authority because this dude, Doreen, I don't know how to say that. Dorito. I
Did you say
don't-
Dorito.
How do you say that?
It looks like Dorito.
Yeah,
Or is it
Dorito?
the,
he's the lead urban transportation specialist for the World Bank. So he has authority. That's for sure.
Jorge Dorito?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least he is one of them, but I would say that is good enough.
Yeah, yeah. He's been a team leader of public transport and urban mobility investments in Brazil, China, Peru, and the Philippines. Cool.
They're all urban transport specialists
Oh, all
with
three of the authors?
the transportation global practice of the World Bank. They're all with the World Bank, but
Mm.
the website that we're on.
Sure.
So yeah, they're all specialists with transportation.
So who is the creator of, are we doing this solution or the solution? I mean, when I said who made the solution, are we talking about this source or just in general?
Yeah, that was my question, because like cable cars go back to like Victorian England, I think, like London.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it says for urban transport was what I put in there. So we can believe that there, and then who is the creator of the solution? Because our people didn't create the solution. They're just
Commentators.
they're just justifying it.
Sure.
So I think it's a group. No.
Do they reference, they don't reference anywhere in here like a specific company. Let's see. American Systems, Arrow, they really don't go into a whole, it is just like everybody has these.
They're all like their credentials are their specialist in global transportation.
What is his, her occupation? Specialist in global transportation.
Which are we specifically just using Jorge for this, or
All
are we using all three?
I mean, I
Person.
would say in general, they all look like they're about the same.
urban transportation specialists. They're all urban transportation specialists.
Sure. His title specifically would be lead urban transportation specialist, just in case it's splitting hairs at all. I don't know how detailed he's going to be bothering with this stuff, but
Probably not much.
I hope. All right. Where's the internet? Public awareness.
Where does the information come from? Them. Like I don't. They don't have any sources or anything like that.
Well, this also is just a oh no, wait, never mind. I was using from the other one. I was talking about the other one that I said. I mean, yeah, they really don't have any.
Several cases from cities of their own study. You can just do that.
Yeah.
I've never had a teacher that actually looks too deep into these. Like you're going to be wasting a lot of your own if you go too deep into this stuff.
Perfect.
So I mean, is that everything?
We have on the bottom.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So for the first one, I put to inform, raise public awareness of cable car networks, and to sell the idea to urban centers.
I don't know. I don't think it's no. I don't think it's institutionalized because they're.
I mean, so on the other hand, I would say that it's institutionalized in that these people are from World Bank, and World Bank clearly supports them, and that it's supported them from the avenue of it's let them do investigations, it's let them write and post about it.
Yeah, it's maybe funding the research for maybe future endeavors.
Right. So I would say that the World Bank Group is the institution that is certainly, like, at the very least, like, presenting its opinion.
Well,
through
you have
these
to
people.
you have to look at like, do they also write about different, different modes of transportation? Is it? I mean, you have to look at that. What different modes of transportation they've been looking at, if you want to get that detailed, because it could be just a broad like learning service. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
you
But
could
that's not
put,
what World Bank is, firstly. And
Yeah.
secondly, they do reference other modes of transportation in here. They specifically cite bus services and other forms of transportation in this article.
you could say
So, like-
possibly an institutional leaning, maybe for future endeavors.
Exactly. At the very least, there's a conflict of interest because you're getting their perspective from it, and they are employed by World Bank and posting this and not necessarily citing anything else. So at the very least, I would be concerned that this is and the fact that they're using their own studies that was funded by World Bank. So I think that at the very least, like, that needs to be taken in mind. There could be a potential conflict of interest.
But what I'm saying is, does World Bank go over other pieces of transportation? Because if they go over other pieces of transportation with an informal, clear,
It's
then you can't say that they're impartial to this one form. That's all I got.
I'm not saying that they're partial to a specific form of transportation. I'm saying that you are getting like from World Bank, an international banking conglomerate, right? A multi-billion-dollar industry at the very least upon itself. They have funded these people that work for them specifically to go and do this study. And then
Yeah,
these people have presented the study like as fact without citing any other different forms of studies or without referencing other works or things like that. The potential conflict of interest here is that this is being paid for and funded by World Bank without any necessarily like peer review or peer study alongside it. So that like there in of itself, it's kind of got a conflict of interest. Or at the very least, an institutional leaning rather than a conflict of interest.
I think one's done.
That's fine. Yeah, I think so too. All right. Number 2.
Let me delete what I had down in that white box. Since
Yeah, Greg, we got about 5 more minutes until you got to go. So
yeah, I was looking at that. Do you want me to delete that out of the white right there?
Sure.
what's highlighted right there?
Yeah, because we answered them up top.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't even know that was added in there. So sure. All right, solution 2. I mean, we can put the solution in here and then we can kind of just go in and we
Fill it
find a
out from there.
website and then we can all just like kind of go in here later and fill it in unless Aussie wants to get on here and surprised she hasn't got on here yet, but were we doing bike sharing?
I think that's
that'd be one just to.
Do what?
I feel like that's going to be an easy one. I mean, it is a mode of transportation, the sharing of bikes and everything like that. Like you guys were saying, I think that'd be a good way. I mean, just to get something down. I'm not too worried about these things.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were talking about the Hyperloop, but that would be kind of, I mean, that's going to be.
Yeah, no, we don't need to get that complicated.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of complicated.
I'm not actually trying to solve a transportation problem here. I'm just trying to get a passing grade.
I mean, I was
respect.
but
Yeah.
I mean, I would take an A over trying to solve a transportation problem. But
I mean,
okay,
If we
so
happen to do that along the way, like
I'm all down for the A. Don't get me wrong here.
so we would just need to find. I'll just put bike sharing in here, and then we would just need to find.
I have a article here that I literally just found. Might be helpful. Do you want me to just? Oh, I should probably make it APA format.
All right, I got to go to my meeting.
See you, man.
That's fine.
All right, thank you guys. Sorry about
Yep.
this.
You're right. See ya. Citation. Where's the clear format button?
I mean, first or second sentence already has negatives about it.
Yeah, it seemed at the very least, my quick glance, it's got membership and usage fees, other funding sources. It's got pros that it's cheaper. It's got yeah. This seems like it's got a spread of things.
I mean, I know people that use them. They say they're fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So this looks like it's specifically just a bike share program, which is fine. All right, so what do we got here up top? All right, how long does it take to implement?
However long it takes the bikes to arrive.
Yeah, it's no time at all, minimal time and effort to a setup.
I mean, it could be how the supply chain's working if
Yeah.
there's a backlog. That's all I work with is the supply chain. So
All right, so generally little to no time to set up. Was it successful? How was it measured?
it doesn't really say.
Let's see. Chris bike system. Small enough to regular time. All right, so nice ride, Minnesota. St. Paul's program is a solid bulky pounds, 140 bulky.
This just says many sizable cities now have bike share programs that offer affordable. So I mean,
So I'd say yes.
it
Like,
could be. Yeah, we have less than a minute on this, just so you know.
oh, cool. Yeah. So I would say
So yes, since most
yeah.
sizable or since many sizable cities tend to have bike share programs.
Mhm. Programs that are established, continue to be in use. Okay.